Barakatah Yahweh, Barakatah Yahweh, Barakatah Yahweh, Barakatah Yahweh, Barakatah Yahweh, Barakatah Yahweh, Kol La, Aranaba Yahweh, Bashim, Shamalak Yahweh, Bashim Hakadash, Daba Honest to the Apostle, that was Great Millstone, Peace, Citation, Hope, for Life, Shalom. And in this video, this is about 3 men stealing $300,000 in Brooklyn, and that's what the title says. 3 men steal $300,000 from armored truck in Brooklyn. And, excuse me, sorry. And this article was posted on Sunday, 8th, 2023 at 8:08 p.m. And pretty much the man's going to state everything that's pretty much written in this article, so there's no reason to read it, and it's pretty much short anyway.
3 people stole $300,000 from an armored Brinks truck in Brooklyn, and the search is on to find them. Police say on Friday, 2 men distracted a Brinks employee outside a Chase Bank on 55th Street and 8th Avenue in Sunset Park. The worker told officers the 2 men asked him for directions, and that's when a 3rd man quickly grabbed an unattended money bag that sat on the truck's bumper. The 3 men ran from the scene. 3 people.
So it pretty much shows you that those guys are foolish, because some of them didn't even have their face mask on, and they already got caught up in the pictures, so it's gonna be easy to find them, because they already have been, when your face is caught in the camera, you're gonna be easy to identify. So with that, I'll bring out some scriptures, and Lord willing, you hopeful that viewing this video will be edified. So it says, Ephesians 5, verse 15 to 17. It says, see then that ye walk circumspectly, not as fools, but as wise, redeeming the time, because the days are evil. Wherefore be ye not unwise, but understanding what the word of the Lord is. And, as you can see, what those guys committed, since they stole like about $300K from the armored truck. Of course, the armored truck is going to have like, they should have like surveillance cameras on them. And not only that, but seeing that you're doing it in a public street, and in broad daylight, that already shows you right there that these people are stupid for doing that. Those 3 individuals. Because it's coming to the point where people are just becoming reckless, and they don't even care or consider the crime that they're doing out in the streets. And that right there, that's a grand larceny by 2nd degree. The offense that they committed, and that's obviously a felony when you commit grand larceny. Because 4th degree would be 1,000 to 3,000. Any theft that pretty much is around that amount. The 3rd degree will be if it exceeds 3,000, but is below 50,000, and then the 2nd degree is 50,000 below $1 million, 50,000 under $1 million, from around that range. And then obviously the 1st degree will be over anything that's $1 million or over, and all those are still felonies. But obviously, as you go up in the degrees, like 3rd, 2nd, 1st, there'll be higher charges on the felony. It may be A, B, or C, so. But those guys, since they may get caught up, if they actually happen to just get arrested or so, they're going to be facing pretty much a very long time in prison. Probably maybe they might see themselves doing double-digit years for committing that crime. Yeah, 2 Timothy chapter 3, verse 13. But evil men and seducers shall wax worse and worse, deceiving and being deceived. Yep. But they pretty much are waxing worse by also doing crimes out there at any time of the day, even in broad daylight. You know, sometimes not even wearing a face covering and they do the crime. It just comes to them just like snap of the fingers. Like they just out there doing whatever to satisfy their lustful desires, their sins. You know, that's all it is for them. You know, they just go out there doing all type of wickedness and then they just go right back home like it's nothing. And when these motherfuckers get arrested, a lot of times on a mugshot, they look like they didn't know what the hell they just did to end up in that situation. You know, like they felt like a spirit was on them to think that they could do it and not get caught. So it really shows you the demons that be on these people when they do these things. Yeah, Proverbs 28 verse 5 says, evil men understand not judgment, but they that seek the Lord understand all things. All right, and when it's coming to these niggas amongst our people, and they were from another kingdom, so but it don't matter because they still are people in a way. And the day it's like they out there doing a crime like that in this man's system. Esau will pretty much have you in jail for a while, and then it's like when you come out, he make it harder for you to get a job. It's already hard to get a job, being a so-called black, Hispanic, Native American man. How much more if you are a thief, with felony charges, when you're convicted of felonies. It's clipped for you. Call on y'all, Bushman Shah 1144. But yeah, it's really clipped for you once you're in that, once you're labeled as a thief. Ain't no job gonna, want to hire you. And Exodus 20 verse 15 says, thou shalt not steal. So here, even Yahweh Shai mentioned it in the New Testament as well, showing the Old Testament wasn't done away with. And Lord just said thou shalt not steal, period. And these are the 10 Commandments. Like, so you shouldn't steal from your own people. That includes that as well. And as well as you not stealing from these heathens, including especially the so-called white man. Even though, we in this kingdom, we still gotta obviously render unto Caesar. Scriptures say, we gotta pay our taxes. We gotta do things the right way. Don't give the enemy a reason to convict you of anything. You gotta be blameless, especially if you're in this ministry. Because Esau will try to find any way to charge you for anything. He'll try to find any way to fuck you over. And then as well as he fucks you over, he sees that you're an Israelite and you conduct yourself as a brother in the truth. He could already blame everyone that believes in the truth, just like you doing the works. He could blame y'all for being what you call terrorists, and because of your beliefs, he could say that he could blame the ministry and get the people's approval on that, and play with people's emotions as well. But most likely those guys weren't in the truth, so of course they were just your average 2/3 niggas out there just doing crime to satisfy their sinful desires and their worldly lusts. And but it's better, I say, that they go out there trying to steal from the so-called white man trying to go to his corporations, trying to steal from them, or stealing from, from these Edomites, instead of you going out there stealing from your own people, because a lot of time you find, Jake, that they do crime to each other, because they get away with it more, and it's easier for them to do that than for them to go out in the and do it to the so-called white man or another heathen out in the street. It's better to see that they out there going out there to do that to the trying to fuck with the so-called white man's money like that by trying to steal from their corporations or whatever, instead of doing that to their own people. So it makes more sense, because the white man has stole a lot from us. But the so-called white man, these people got to understand that scriptures say that, it tells you in the Genesis, the chapter where he killed, where Cain killed Abel, it told you that the Lord shall, if any man, kills him, then justice shall be on that man. I'm gonna bring it up. So in Genesis 4:15 it says, and the Lord said unto him, therefore whosoever slave Cain, vengeance shall be taken on him sevenfold, and to set up mark upon Cain, lest any find in him should kill him. So yeah, and that's pretty much because Cain is a so-called white man, and he was that was Esau, the prehistoric version of Esau. That was part of that. They come from that serpent seed line. First it was a serpent, then Cain and Esau, and this was like a future prophecy that anyone that happens to do any crime to the so-called white man, which is Esau, fucking with his businesses, his corporations, and you doing any type of crime amongst any thing that he owns, like fucking with his resources, then eventually you're gonna find yourself in a situation where you're gonna get arrested, and especially if you're a Jake, and you're gonna get charged heavily. And just a little point I want to make out of the scripture with this precept. Psalm 73 verse 5 says, they are not in trouble as other men, neither are they plagued like other men. Because as you can see, if you fucking around with Esau's resources, you trying to go and rob his any of his assets or so, he could end up getting you arrested, and you get charged with a lot of felonies. And what, just for your freedom to be in jail, and then you having to be another man's bitch in the prison system. And then another thing you have to also worry about in the penitentiary is you're gonna have to work and pretty much for slave labor, getting paid underwage payments, such as a few cents an hour, and this country justifies that type of payment, because once you're in jail, you're a slave again, which is the loophole to the amendments. Esau don't gotta worry about all those things, mainly talking about the super rich ones that run the banking industries, the one that run Hollywood and all these other major banks. Their families don't gotta worry about going out there getting robbed or so. They don't gotta worry about anyone trying to go to their house. They don't gotta worry about home invasions. They don't gotta worry about getting robbed in public, shit like that, because this is their kingdom, you know, and they're on the top of their kingdom. They got the protection, they got bodyguards, they got money for days, you know, not even money for days, they got money for generations, I'll say. So, you know, when it's coming to our people, we gotta worry about all that shit, you know. You gotta worry about getting robbed, you gotta worry about being circumspect around, you know, with everyone around you. You know, it's a lot of shit you gotta keep in mind. But with that, hope I made the lesson edifying. Let's give all glory, praise, and honor to Adonai Yahweh Bashem Shamalak Yahweh Bashem Kakadash, the honest apostle, Elsewhere Millstone, peace, citation, hope for elect. Yahweh Shem Shabbat Shah, Shalak Rayam, Adawayam, Wakawayam, Wa, Baba, Shalom.